Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the Prime Minister of Japan. Do you know who is the Prime Minister of Japan? It's Shinzo Abe. I think Shinzo Abe is a very famous person, not only in Japan but also in the world. I think he is one of the three most popular, most famous person from Japan. Number one, the Emperor of Japan. Number two, Shinzo Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan. Number three, Marie Kondo, a specialist of tidying up your room. She's very popular in the United States. By the way, in this video, I'm talking about Shinzo Abe, not tidying up your room. In this video, I'm talking about Shinzo Abe from 2 points of view. First, his background. Second, his mission as a politician. Let's begin. He was born in 1954. Now he's 65 years old in 2020. He was born in a very noble family. His family is unusual. We can trace his family back to the 11th century. His family has a history like an aristocrat. And Shinzo Abe is the first generation of hereditary politician from his family. His family has many politicians, and one of them is one of the most famous politicians in our history. His grandfather is Nobusuke Kishi, former prime minister in Japan. So his family has more than one prime ministers. There are so many hereditary politicians in Japan. They have pros and cons. Many people criticize that kind of hereditary politicians. By the way, he's one of the most typical hereditary politicians in Japan. He studied in Seikei University. Seikei is not the best university of Japan. The top university of Japan is the University of Tokyo. The University of Tokyo has the most difficult entrance examination to enter. In Japan, entrance examination is really important and really difficult. Every student study hard to pass the entrance examination. Only genius can go to Tokyo University. Seikei is not this kind of difficult universities. Maybe I think I can pass the entrance examination of Seikei. Our prime minister didn't graduate the best university. After he graduated the university, he joined a private company. It's Kobe Steel Company. It's a rather big but normal private company. He was working with other ordinary employees. For me, it is difficult to imagine he was working as a commoner, because he has a very noble background. In 1993, when he was 39 years old, first he became a politician. He became a member of representatives in our parliament. And after 13 years of his career as a politician, he became the prime minister for the first time in 2006, when he was 54 years old. 54 years old was the youngest prime minister in the history of our democracy. Shinzo Abe became the prime minister twice. First in 2006, second 2012. Many Japanese forgot that he became the prime minister in 2006 for the first time. The reason why many people forget it is that he quitted only after 1 year. In 2007, he stepped down from the prime minister because he got sick. The position prime minister has heavy pressure on him. He couldn't bear it. He couldn't continue it. He resigned. And after he resigned, for 5 years, he was preparing to come back to the position prime minister. He was rebuilding himself. When he resigned that position, I thought he was over as a politician. I thought he can never come back to a very important position in the government. Many people thought it, but he did it. He wasn't over. He didn't give up. He came back to the top of the government, the prime minister, in 2012. After he came back to the position, he looks almost a different person. He got confidence and he got good medication to ease his disease. So no one worry about his health now, because he has been doing very tough job as a prime minister for a long time after he came back to the position. Since 2012, he has been doing his administration for more than 7 years. 7 years is a very long term as a prime minister in Japan. Our system, the prime minister doesn't have a fixed period like the president of the United States. So many prime ministers ended their career only in 1 or 2 years, like Shinzo Abe himself. He quitted that position in 1 year. Many other prime ministers couldn't continue for a long time. The total of his 2 terms is the longest career as a prime minister in the history of our democracy. From this point of view, I can say he's one of the best prime ministers of Japan, because this means that the majority of Japanese have been choosing him as the top of the government, because the prime minister is chosen by democratic process. What is characteristic of Shinzo Abe as a politician is his mission. He has a very strong mission. That is, he would like to change the constitution about the policy of the security of the nation, Japan. The current our constitution doesn't allow us to have a military, and we can never have a war. The policy that we can never have a war is a very good one, very peaceful. But due to this policy, he thinks that we cannot defend our country enough. We don't have a military, we have only the self-defense force. The self-defense force is very similar to a military, but it's technically not a military. It can only defend us. It cannot attack the soldiers of other countries. The self-defense force must wait until we are attacked by the enemy soldiers. Shinzo Abe thinks that it is not enough to keep the security of Japan. He thinks that we need to have stronger military and to defend ourselves more strongly. He says this is not to make a war, to invade other countries. But after the World War II, many people have gotten an allergy for having a military, because we made a big mistake when we had World War II. So from the regret of this terrible war, so many people hope that we keep our peaceful constitution. He wants to make Japan great again. This kind of view is really controversial nowadays. Many people criticize him, especially liberal people don't like him. If you have a friend from Japan who can speak English, I think they are liberal person. So they don't I don't think they like Shinzo Abe. Ask his reputation to them. Next, his policy about the economy. His policy about the economy is called Abenomics. It's mimicking Reaganomics. Abenomics is a policy to stop our deflation. Our economy has been suffering from a terrible deflation. It deterred our businesses. Abenomics is a huge quantitative monetary ease to make inflation artificially. We can say we stopped the deflation and our economy became better until we are hit by the COVID-19, actually. In this video, I talked about his background, mission, and policy. In the following videos, I'm going to talk about each of his policy and what he have done for the problem of COVID-19. Thank you for watching my video. See you. さよなら。